Disney buying that pen. Is it called pen? So what? I should find
My
it.
boss's boss is like, I need to let him know I go to bed by 9 o'clock though. So I will need
Sounds
to
like
update
me,
my day.
dude. This totally sounds
Oh
like
yeah,
me.
I mean she's like
Exactly.
in her 60s. She's older. She's funny, but
So am
yeah.
I'm an old soul.
Is
So
she in her 60s? I don't even know. She doesn't watch. I hope she doesn't watch. But yeah,
she's
anyway.
in her 40s. She's
Yeah.
just an old soul like me. Hey, everybody. We are getting ready for the live show, so hang with us. We're going to start here in a couple of minutes. So I should find the details in this story. It's got to be around here somewhere. What was the name of the new Disney? What's the gambling company going to be, though? It's going to be Disney Bet Disney.
Oh, that's right.
Because I do want to talk about that.
I don't know. I've been reading so much stuff about that. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I thought it started with like an F, like free something or
Pen is what they bought.
Pen.
But they're gonna have the name of the thing is like Bet Disney or Disney something.
Is there gonna be a plus at the end?
No, they said that was one of the funny things that it won't have a plus. Let's see. Pen Disney purchase. Pen.
ESPN Bet.
ESPN Bet.
Yeah. ESPN Bet will be available to fans this fall. Oh man. Like just our whole Odyssey thing, man, took a step forward.
That's where I want to take it. That's where I want to take it.
Okay. I almost dug that episode up so that we could like share it, like when we were talking about it before.
You talked about
this happened.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and I mean this is like perfect for it.
Yeah, okay. I'm telling you, man, sports around the world, like it was like when the board or when they announced ESPN was closing, we were trying to find a place to watch sports, and I said like, how does like man.
Well, because they've done it there. I've watched World Cup there.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Perfect in there. It was awesome.
It's just your good transition. You're segueing to the World Showcase. It's Epcot. You got beers from around the world, foods from around the world, sports around the world. I love how you always go back to the cricket. But yeah, there's like 3 a.m. cricket matches going on.
Wade's like, there's sports 24 hours a day. And he's exactly right. Yeah. There is.
And dude, I could bet on a horse race any time of day.
Yeah, Australian girls football. I mean, rugby. Yeah. There's always something.
Everything.
Okay. Here, let's start this. Okay, hang on.
Oh, that backdrop is actually the Big Brother.
There's the.
I do see the Epcot look though now.
Yeah, that's the Big Brother. Yeah, only the Big Brother fans will get it. That's the diary room. It was in their press kit. And I got LEDs now in the back of my thing, so it changes colors slightly. Watch my back wall, it'll change colors.
So remember, no shouting. There's no need to shout in the diary room.
I'll be like Hayden or Johnny Mac.
I was about to say Johnny Mac is the best. Like,
welcome to the America's podcast.
I wish that guy could come back for something, man. I love that guy.
He's gonna be the 18th house guest. I saw it on Twitter.
Dude, that guy.
People said that.
His diary rooms cracked me up too, and then he was part of like the dance group, like the backs, whatever they were called. Like
yeah. I forget with that Julia or whatever, and
that
little skinny guy,
Steve maybe. Like he won, didn't he win the season?
He won, but the little skinny guy, what's his name? He was always talking like dirty, but he was like a little skinny dude. He lived in his mom's basement.
I can't remember his name.
Oh, dude, yeah, but they wore the all white. They did.
No, it's so good
because they got that punishment. Yeah. But he was so funny. Hey, July. Hi, July.
He's so funny, and he looked like my friend Chris a lot too. Is the thing. So like, Anyway.
Okay.
Don't shout in the diary.
Now gonna have to do a little Johnny Mac impression.
It must be like really like soundproof or something when you're in there. Like you must feel like you have that need to yell. Like I don't know.
I think they just get them pumped up.
Maybe.
I don't know. I want to find out. Okay, because this season I've been watching the feeds constantly, so now I'm getting the itch to play again. But I don't know if I could. Hang on. Why is there no? Oh, here's the record button. Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Open Line for Sunday night, August 13th, 2023. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com. And, of course, one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Sunday night or Thursday to you. If you're chilling out and checking us out on the feed, that is absolutely fine. Thanks for being a supporter of the show. Hope you're having a great wrap to the weekend or an almost new weekend. We're getting through the week if you're listening here on the feed. We're going to have a great hour here taking your calls at 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. This is the show where you can jump in. You don't have to wait. You can be a part of the podcast every week on Sunday nights. We love having the interaction here on the podcast. So joining me today to take your calls, we have lots to talk about. Your friend of mine, hashtag Scotty G. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Mike. Happy Sunday. Happy to be here as always. Want to give a shout out, though, to the people of Maui, man. Like, there's some devastating wildfires happening there this week. I'm sure everyone caught a glimpse of it. I'm going to Oahu in a couple of months, and I'm just thinking about Maui, all the Hawaiian islands, man. That was just some tough news to see. So definitely sending some love over there to our folks, our friends in Maui,
Absolutely agree. It's tough to see, fellow Americans and friends over there, and just keep them in your prayers.
Yeah, for sure. And then, but with this weekend, though, I sent you a photo. I didn't really set it up for you, but we were kind of chilling this weekend. We didn't go anywhere because Emily had her wisdom teeth pulled.
Oh, man,
this
that
weekend.
picture sent me just made my jaw hurt because I'm still a big chicken. I have all my wisdom teeth because I am not doing that.
So I'll tie this to a Disney twist because we're a Disney podcast. So Elizabeth made a funny meme of her this morning. Took a photo of her with her cheeks all puffy and did a side by side with that prisoner in Pirates of the Caribbean who's trying to whistle for the dog. How his cheeks are all
Yep.
So she did a side by side of those two, and it was hilarious.
I'm sure
that's how Emily is feeling right now. She's feeling like that guy in Pirates.
I'm sure she appreciated that very much.
Oh, she was not happy. I haven't been allowed to share anything on social media, any photos.
I would hope not. I would hope she would punch you in the nose if you did that.
I know she'd have the puffy cheeks, and then I would have the broken nose. It'd be a mess. So, but anyway, happy to talk some Disney today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, when I saw a picture, I was like, oh man, just prayers up for Emily. Cause again, she's a stronger person than I am. Cause again, I've had a little pain back there, but I'm like, I'm just going to deal with it till I die. Cause I'm playing that.
Perfect time to do it though. Band camp just ended. We had a couple more weeks before school started. So just get through a rough week and then boom, she'll be back before we know it. So it'll be fine.
I've just heard people say the word after this, dry sockets. I don't even know what that is, but I want my sockets to be dry and it just doesn't sound good. So I'm not.
Yeah, we have this little, I don't know what you call it.
Don't freak me out, man. I'm just okay, we're done.
I won't describe the process to you.
I will pass out and I got to answer the calls. I got to do all this stuff.
There's some details I'll leave out that you won't like to hear. So
for real, there's a reason I don't do this stuff. Okay. So a couple stories to talk about. First of all, and we'll save the big one here for a second, but we had our first Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party this week. We had all the influencers there. We had all the eager beavers out at the Halloween party. We even had some of our listeners out there at the party, which looked like it was a lot of fun. My favorite costume that I saw as I was scanning social media was a guy that was dressed up like a milk carton. Okay, so he's a milk carton, and he had on the front was the panel that back in the day used to have the missing kid. On it said missing trams for Epcot since last seen 2020. And it was awesome. So shout out to the person who dressed up like the milk carton for the missing trams. Perfect costume. But record heat in Orlando this week for the very first Halloween party. I mean, it was so hot. How hot was it? It was so hot that the candy was melting on the guests at night at the Magic Kingdom. Because again, they give away full-size candy. Props for that because the parties are expensive and you need to get the full-size candy. But good Lord, you're not getting milk chocolate. You're getting chocolate milk, I think, at this point. But I mean, what did you think? I mean, it looked like the party was awesome. They really upgraded the party. I mean, the party itself, awesome. But I don't know if I could take it in the heat of August.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't followed that much as I normally would, just due to the craziness with the wisdom teeth and everything. Yeah. But yeah, I've been watching the temps though, man, and they have been brutally hot. I remember last year I went to the second party of the year. We were dressed up as runners, so that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
You weren't wearing a heavy costume, but man, even then it was smoking hot. So yeah, just mad props to those doing the party. I still think August is ridiculously early to start doing the party. I mean, even Halloween, I think the decorations went up in July, July 31st. It is so crazy. But yeah, I mean, what do you do about the candy situation? You want the candy, right? You're paying these dollars. That's a part of the fun of the experience, right? It's the trick or treat. But Like, and you can't bring like an ice pack inside the park. Like, what do you do about your candy? That's a tough situation.
Right. I mean, that's my favorite part of the party is the adult trick or treating, going around getting your candy. And I mean, I don't think it totally melted, but I mean, it was
Yeah.
probably pretty tacky. People were showing on social media because I mean, it was 100. The heat indexes are getting between like 105 to 115 in Orlando during the afternoons. So it's still super hot in the evenings. Of course, you can go in at 4 o'clock. And the thing we're seeing is like a lot of folks are going to that first party. Of course, the first party sold out because a lot of influencers go. But the coverage, it seemed like the parade was great. It was upgraded. They had some of the Disney characters, like the Sanderson sisters. Everything looked spectacular as far as the party. I thought they really put some thought into the party and probably listened to a lot of feedback from last year. The party looked better than ever. So I'm excited for the folks that are going down. Man, August is just so soon. I know they want to get as many parties in as they can, but man, and they probably weren't expecting it. But I mean, it's August, it's Florida.
I know.
So I just wonder because I know like Bob, Dan Keese, he's one of our listeners, was there, and I know he even bailed like early and left his son and his wife stay at the party. They're staying at the Bay Lake Tower. And I mean, the thing is, like, if it's that hot that you got to bail out of a hard ticket event early because of the heat at night, that's saying something. But I mean, it was record heat, but still.
Right. I almost bought us party tickets.
I was going to ask.
But they sold out, man. Okay, they sold out the day I was going to do it.
Because I did look and I saw there was a Halloween party, but I think I'd rather go to Epcot since we have APs, save $100.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to try the pickle shake that day.
Well, I want to try the thing up connections. I got my list. I got a bunch of stuff. I'm not trying the pickle shake, I don't think, but we'll see. And actually, let's see. Suppose Catherine was asking, "Are we going to visit the parks to go down for Give Kids the World?" I probably just do it on Friday after the volunteering in the morning. I'm thinking of hopping to Epcot. Is my plan.
That was my plan as well. I have a park pass for Epcot because it's Food and Wine. That'll be the only day I'll be able to see that during this whole season. So got to go to Epcot. Plus, it's my favorite. That is
the plan. And I looked to see who was playing that night for the festival. It was the band. It was somebody I wasn't super stoked for, but I will probably listen to. I can't remember who it was. I was hoping it was somebody else, but I was like, it's okay. It's free. It's with your paid admission. Okay. So the other story we want to talk about, and again, call in. You can talk about anything you like. 407-413-9395. Would you go to a Halloween party this early? Good news is Christmas probably starts in 2 weeks. Just kidding. The big announcement that came out, and I know this came out on the day because on Tuesday nights we go to Cyberg's because Mallory has cheerleading or she has tumbling practice right down the road. So we drop her off at her cheer tumbling practice and Pam and I scarf down a quick dinner while she's in her tumbling lesson. So we meet at this little bar grill. And when I was waiting for Pam to get there from school, yes, she started school. The news broke and I was on Twitter about Disney acquiring this Penn Entertainment, which is a betting company. And so Disney has now finally, as we've talked about 6 months ago, thrown their hat into the betting, venue, into the betting industry. Yep. So now ESPN and Disney, because they're all owned by the same, Disney owns ESPN. They're going to have a betting faction. And we've talked about this. Scott actually brought this up. And I wanted to, we had an awesome thread with Wade, our good buddy up in Nebraska, about this. How and we're big sports fans. We talk about sports on here all the time. I don't bet. Scott bets, and I just don't bet because I think it would give me a heart attack if I had any more like riding on a game because I get too invested as it is. If I have money on it, I'd probably end up in the hospital. I would get too invested, period. So, but the thing is, now, besides all this stuff, like with ESPN and owning, and they have all the games on, and now they're going to have stakes. And now I think they're focused on game day on Saturdays. It is. I mean, it's
already changed to that.
Yeah. Now they have the lines on the college game day, which, I don't understand half the stuff. I'd rather hear just the X's and O's and stuff like that. But I mean, it is what it is. It's all the Bally does that with baseball, everything. But here's the thing. Disney, the theme parks, does this at some point sneak in. We see a way where it could, and I think it could benefit all of us, especially the folks, and there's more of us than you think. There's a lot more of us than you think that go to the theme parks that are huge sports fans and Disney fans. And Scott, you mentioned this probably about 6 months ago. Epcot in a certain location is perfect for this marriage.
It really is. And like, I mean, I think we kind of co-thought about it. I mean, I've been thinking about it, but like you had an experience years ago during the World Cup where you watched the World Cup game and the Odyssey. And the Odyssey, like, doesn't have an identity, you know, it really doesn't. Like sometimes for festivals, it's open, it does some things, you know, but it needs its identity. It needs to have like some kind of permanent theme, I feel like. And when the ESPN at the boardwalk was closing, you know, we were out live talking about the news, and I said, you know what? They just need to open up a sports bar at the Odyssey. That's kind of where it started, right? Like a sports bar at the Odyssey where you can show sports around the world. Like, because we talked about there's games around the world that are always happening. There's always like a cricket match at like 2 PM or whatever it may be. And then we kind of joked about like, well, maybe they'll get into the betting industry and there'll be betting kiosks and then you can bet on games across the world. Kind of as a joke, but like, who knows? That could come to reality. Like they own a gambling platform now. I mean, I know they've never wanted like casinos to be around that area. So like it probably is something that they won't really do. But I mean, they own a gambling platform now through ESPN. It's kind of crazy.
But I mean, if and you know, I don't know what Florida's like because I don't follow these rules. But it, you know, because the betting portion with Disney, I'm sure is going to be via an app, just like DraftKings and all that stuff.
And all those bars.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is illegal in Missouri. Like we cannot bet in Missouri, but you can in Illinois. So you can, St. Louis is right on the border. For people that don't know the geography, I can be in Illinois in 10 minutes. We're right on the Mississippi River. So with the Cardinals, which is crazy because the baseball stadium sits, I mean, literally right on the river, you can just drive across the bridge right outside the stadium and go across the river and make a bet and come back. But you can't do it in our state where the Cardinals play. It's kind of like same thing with the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are on the other side of the state in Kansas City. You can bet in Kansas City, Kansas, but you can't bet in Kansas City, Missouri, where the teams are. Which, you know, here nor there, it doesn't matter to me either way because I don't bet. Right. But if it were legal in Florida, then you could. But we've mentioned the Odyssey, and I agree with you. I think as somebody who doesn't even bet, it's a win-win, because if you wanted to bet and it was legal in Florida, I don't know if it is, and they'd probably work the legislature, you know, Disney would. But the thing is, you could make your bet on your phone, but I would enjoy the environment of just having, you know, basically the ESPN zone experience, because it would celebrate world cultures and that transition from the old Future World to World Showcase in a way. Because like you mentioned, I saw the World Cup there with Paige probably about 15 years ago. She was still maybe in high school, and she's a huge soccer fan and wanted to watch it. And so they had a big thing in the Odyssey, and it was so busy. Like it was like one person in, one person out. So we queued up and it was packed, and we had to wait for people to leave because of the fire code. We finally got in, so you couldn't leave because you couldn't get back in. But it was just the wildest atmosphere. Like every pass, everybody's like, ooh, wow. But the greatest thing was you had a melting pot of people from all over the planet watching the sporting event together. Like, I don't get that in St. Louis. Like, I mean, everybody is a Mizzou fan, so we're all cheering for the same thing. It was a different kind of environment because, one, I'm not a big soccer fan, so I didn't exactly know what was going on. I just enjoyed being there, because I don't even think we're watching a Team USA game. I think we just went in to watch World Cup. I think we're watching like Colombia versus Brazil or something. And I was just like, this is awesome, because these people from their country were like living and dying with every pass, you know. And I'm like, as a soccer fan, I was soaking up the environment and I was living for it.
Yeah.
But,
and that's almost,
I could learn about cricket. I could learn about, even if I don't bet, I think it'd be
awesome. And you're not going to see like betting kiosks. Like that would never happen. Like they wouldn't want like litter papers around. Like that's a bad look. But like, to your point, this is going to be like all done through an app of some sort. So you can have the games around the world, maybe games that you bet on or whatever through your phone or whatever. But you're right. I just like, it brings that culture, like, and then you can tie it to food, which like all World Showcase kind of does. You can have I keep saying like beers around the world. I think that'd just be so cool in the Odyssey. You can watch your sports, have your beers around the world. I think it'd be a cool atmosphere for Epcot. I really do.
I honestly don't think it's big enough. I honestly think it would need to be three times as big. And somebody's mentioning the Atlantic the Atlantic Dance Hall. That would be a better venue because it's larger. The old ESPN, you know, building would have been perfect for this, where the cake shop's going in. But that's gone. But it's just one of those things. I used to be very traditionalist, where everything had to be kind of like 1960s Disneyland. That isn't how things are going to be anymore. And this is just one of those things. Disney's looking for synergy to blend their brands together. I mean, look at every new attraction that comes along. Pandora, IP, Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, IP, Marvel. You got Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, Tron. Everything is going to something that is established. I mean, sports, think about it. If so many people have such an affinity for a sport and their team that you would draw people in. I mean, not only the betting, but you could draw people because, like you just said, people go in there. You could sell merchandise. I mean, to me, it's a no brainer. But again, I'm a sports fan. Like, I think I'm just
it's education in a way. If it's games that you like, if it's a sport that you're not familiar with, like we've done that in the cruise line so many times. We've watched sports around the world because all they get is like ESPN 10, like on the ship. Like we've watched cricket matches and all these things. Like, we've watched like the run, like the walking races. I remember that one we're watching.
We did. We watched. In
a way, it's kind of educational.
Walking on the ship. We did.
Yeah. But I know we don't need to talk about this. It was just kind of a funny idea. And now, like, the more I think about it, the more I keep liking it. Like, I just like that idea for that Odyssey space. I really do.
And then my buddy Chris, who's a Roll Tide fan down in Alabama and Huntsville, says the fall, college football, an old fashioned and a small wager on the Tide. That's living the dream. See, that's the thing. I cannot have money on a game like that. I wouldn't be able to breathe. Like, it's stressful enough because college football, man, you lose one game and you're just shot. I can't, we go down 3-0 and I'd be like sweating bullets. I cannot put money on it because I'm too cheap. Like that, I just have to enjoy it. And I don't even enjoy it half the time when I'm losing. So I don't know. I just think that there's a chance that this, I don't know. I think it might get into the theme parks. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Good. The phone lines are open. I don't know if they're broken. People usually call like quarter till the top of the hour, and that's when it becomes a mess. So 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. We got lots of great comments though here from YouTube, from Facebook. That Ohio guy says sports will boost Disney's company big time. Oops. And says it'll be a game changer for them. I agree. Disney,
and I like what Nichelle said too. She said about like how this is getting them further away from Walt's vision. And then you kind of like said something about that too. Like that's just kind of how it's trending these days. But like I do like your traditional Magic Kingdom, like dry park kind of thing, fun for families. I know the sports thing could potentially get rowdy in a way, but I think it's still fun for families that enjoy these things to like go to an area to watch a team play like and have a good time with other fans across the world. I think that's just that concept of bonding. I think is kind of cool, but I agree.
So, I have 2 daughters, right? So I don't even have sons, and this is not to be sexist or anything, but I mean, my family, like we've grown up in sports bars. Like that is a family thing for us. Like my girls would love to be in a place like the Odyssey during like a playoff game, like with people drinking beer. I mean, I don't even drink beer. Like just that atmosphere though, people just be crazy, just like with every play during a Mizzou game or an Alabama game or whatever, a national championship game. They, we do that here, and to do it at Florida, it'd be awesome. I don't know. That would be family together for us just as much as going on Snow White Scary Adventure. It's just our family does things a little bit different. Probably not right, but that's us. All right, we have our first call of the night. Thanks for being so patient. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, this is AJ from Pennsylvania.
AJ, thanks for taking the time to call. Say hey to Scott.
Hey, AJ.
Hey, Scott, fellow Big Ten alumni.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, you could be from anywhere on the planet at this
basically.
Big 12, Big 10 guy. Sorry.
Yeah, hey, I was just building some Legos with my kid and listening in, and just adding to the kind of the ESPN discussion. One of my predictions, I think this is the first step for them to kind of have divest the ESPN brand.
Maybe.
I know that, there's some interviews with CNBC, and it seemed like Iger had kind of said that, they're mulling that as an option, and it seems like they're kind of testing the waters, in my opinion. I think that ESPN brand name is just very valuable from a gambling standpoint, and I don't think it's core to Disney business. So I think they're going to test the water, see how it goes, and probably let go of the brand is my prediction.
What do you think, Scott?
I mean, that could be they own a lot of pieces. Disney does, and maybe this is just something they want to bump up the sale price on, make it look really good. And then, I think anything is really possible right now, like through any part of Disney's arm and like, whatever they own. I think that could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I hate to see it. I mean, I could totally see it, right? Because Iger is looking to capitalize. And I mean, we've even heard, and I've heard this on other podcasts that are not Disney podcasts, tech podcasts, about the Apple buying Disney rumor. It's been hot over the last week, and it's because he's exploring his options. And I mean, if you're a CEO, that's what you do. That's your role. You have to check all the options to see what is in the best interest of your shareholders. Yeah, but would I hate it? Yes, because I lived through, and I don't know if you did, AJ, but I was around back when I first started going to Disney, like in probably the like late 90s and like early 2000s. When I remember one of the highlights of my Walt Disney World vacations was going over to the ESPN club on the boardwalk and getting, we get like bar food because that's what my daughter loved and I loved it too. Nachos, hot dogs, whatever. And they had that ESPN store. And I would go home with like an ESPN t-shirt or like a windbreaker that said like Booyah or something on it, or Cool's the other side of the pillow. And like nobody had that in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? People would be like, where'd you get the ESPN shirt? And it was the coolest thing because it was the brand and it was so hot. And ESPN's still a hot brand. So I don't know if, you're right. They it's hot, so sell. But man, I like that marriage. I like Disney and ESPN because two of my favorite things being is one.
Yeah. And actually, I'm from outside of Philly, and we were down in Disney the week before the Super Bowl when the Eagles were in it. And, I saw tons of Eagles shirts running around. So it's cool to, have that camaraderie. So definitely, I think you're right, the sports play a neat part of kind of add-on kind of camaraderie to the trip.
Yeah.
But hey, I wanted to add in too, I was actually down in Orlando 2 weeks ago for a work conference, and I went to the Riv for the first time, and I fell in love with it. So I was up at Topolino's, had a whiskey sour, was hanging out, watching the fireworks, and it was, I texted my wife and said, we're staying here.
That's awesome.
That's it.
It's a great place. Like, I love that resort. I mean, I know we hit about it a lot on the podcast, but you got the Skyliner access. It's this great deluxe resort. You can see fireworks in the resort. The rooms are beautiful. The resort is beautiful. I just wish I had a bigger gift shop. The gift shop is so small.
It is small.
Yeah, like the lobby just feels like so congested when I'm in there.
The lobby has a small feel to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was beautiful, and I was living it up there down the conference. I went to Whispering Canyon Cafe for dinner, and I know the servers like to kind of rag on you there, and I felt the need to explain. I said, I'm here by myself. I'm on a work conference. And I said, I was doing a monorail bar tour by myself. And then the server said, well, that doesn't sound lonely at all.
I'm like, you just lost your tip just went down because you're joning on me, man.
That's so great though. That is kind of a funny concept.
And I didn't get ketchup. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get ketchup. I'm good. I just want to eat my brisket and ribs. I just want to have a good meal. And then I'll go do a little bar tour of my own.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I appreciate somebody that can be that harsh. that has the oomph, because I wouldn't have the oomph to lay that down that hard. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you guys want to know something funny? So you guys were talking about ESPN and Disney, how like they tie together because we're sports guys, we're Disney fans. So when I booked my first Disney trip, like, I went to go create a login. I was like, you already have a login. I was like, what? And it's like, so I still use the same login, but my login, I won't give it away, but it has ESPN in the names, which is just kind of funny. So every time I log in to my Disney experience or whatever, like I have to type ESPN every time. It's just kind of funny to me. So
is it because of fantasy football?
Yeah, I think it might've been fantasy football is why I had the login, or like inside, like they used to have like this insider thing where you can like pay $1.99 a month or whatever, and you got like more articles or something. So I think I did that too, but I'm pretty confident it was fantasy related. So is yours an ESPN too? Is that how you started yours, Mike?
No, I had one for fantasy football because we did all of our, because back in the day, I was like in 2 or 3 leagues at a time, and it was always for ESPN.
That's funny. Yeah.
Oh, those are the days, man. That's so fun. Well, AJ, we appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoy listening to you guys. And I'm going to probably hit you up here soon. We're looking to take a trip in the February timeframe. So I'll be
great time of year
soon. We actually had one scheduled with you a little while back, but we had to cancel due to COVID. So looking to do it again here with the kids come up in February.
Hey, it'll be February, like Scott says, great time to go, and we'll take great care of you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for the call. We really appreciate it. Hey, have a great week. See you later.
Thank you too. See you.
All right.
See you, AJ.
All right. We have our next call. So you get one. AJ got us rolling here. So we have our next call. Hey, who's joining us?
Hi, this is Michael Lichman from De Pere, not too far from you.
All right. See, I won't even make Scott spell De Pere because he would not get it right. But
Are you saying like the pair, like the pair, but saying
no,
duh?
no, okay, well, okay, we are making him spell it. Okay, so here we go. So Michael's from here, just south of me in St. Louis, just south of the ballpark. He's from De Pere. How do you spell De Pere, Missouri?
DEPEAR. I don't know.
It's DESPERE.
There's an S in this. Get out. Oh, I can see it now. I can see it now. Like Des Moines or something would have like.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I just had to throw that at you because
That's
it
funny.
doesn't make sense at all. No. So what's going on?
Well, first I have to get your opinion because I haven't heard. But what's your opinion on Adam Wainwright? Let's start there with a little sports talk.
Oh my Lord, he's my favorite Cardinal of all time, and I literally had a tear in my eye yesterday. It was so hard to watch when he could not get.
Do you love him?
But 3 outs.
Do you love him his last 2 wins?
Yes, because there's nothing else this season. I mean, we're not going anywhere. Yes, you give the man his chances, and if I was scared he was going to retire because they say he's going to start. He's going to make his next start. I told my wife that might be the last time we ever see him pitch because I thought he might retire today. I thought he might see the writing on the wall, but he's going to go out one more time. So we'll see.
Yeah. So this week I actually got back from the Disney Dream. I was over in Europe, and I was on my family and I. We went to Denmark, and we did the Dream out of Denmark, stopping in Sweden, Germany, and Norway. And I wanted to call in and tell listeners about seeing Tivoli Gardens, which was pretty cool because apparently that was part of the inspiration for Walt and Disneyland.
So
go ahead.
I've only seen that one time, and it was on a Love Boat episode. They were in Tivoli Gardens on Love Boat.
Park.
It looks beautiful on that episode. It looks
very
so
beautiful. It's kind of funny because just like with Disneyland being in the middle of the city, it's the exact same thing. I mean, you are literally across from their train stations, right in the middle of the city, and when you're in there, you don't realize it. Unless you're, up on, one of their taller rides or whatnot. Very, very clean, very, very quaint. The roller coaster, one of the big roller coasters there that's, from a long time ago, there is a man or a person who rides in the middle of the roller coaster and he applies the handbrake. Look it up on YouTube.
Oh, shut up.
It is that old. But it's pretty cool. It's actually very smooth, much smoother than the wooden coasters here in Six Flags. But there's a man who hops on right when the roller coaster starts, and he will be pulling the handbrake. I got a video from right behind him. It was something else.
Is he like in a costume? I mean, can you tell that he's like a worker, or does he just look like a regular guy?
You can tell. He's in a black uniform, says Tivoli on the back of his jacket, and it starts. He's not even on the thing, and right before you leave the station, he hops right on. And he doesn't have a belt or anything.
No way!
He's done it.
That's the craziest thing.
Around and around and around. You look it up on YouTube, you'll find it.
I am totally looking.
It's nuts.
I'm totally looking at that. You want that guy to be having a good day. You know what I'm saying? Like pay attention, brother. That's so crazy. But, I love that.
The park's pretty amazing. I mean, when we were there, they had a concert going on, and there's an admission to get into the park, and then you either buy a ride pass or you have to pay per ride. But people, you could tell that there were a lot of locals there, and they were having a good time. Like I said, the park is immaculate, no cups anywhere. And I found out why, even though I never saw anybody cleaning up the park, but they have these machines where when you purchase a drink, apparently you pay like a surcharge for that cup. And then when you're done with it, you turn the cup into the machine and it'll give you a little bit of money back. And I didn't realize this. And I saw kids, running across the way to pick up a Starbucks cup that was just sitting on the ground. And then I later realized why is because they wanted to get the money from picking up that cup.
Nice.
Bottle deposit here in Michigan.
Or like we used to
That's
pick up
exactly
aluminum
it.
cans around here, like crush them up and take them to get recycled. Yeah.
And then you'll appreciate this at the end of the night they have Tivoli Illuminations. No joke, it is literally called Illuminations. I'm sure there's a video of it. It's not quite the same. There's no fireworks, but it's a light show and a smoke show, and it's for what it is. It's really something. Really something.
Wow. So how is the cruise itself though? Like being on the ship and seeing all those, I mean, because it's the Norwegian Fjords cruise, fjords. I'm from Missouri. So are you, but I can't pronounce things.
So I equate it a little bit more. It's very different than the Caribbean or a Bahamian cruise. It was closer to like an Alaska cruise where, as you're going along, you look out your window and rather than just seeing endless ocean, you see land, especially while going into Norway or in and out of the ports. But you can see land off in the distance, or sometimes even pretty up close. There's little islands and with houses on them and boats. Oh, and I could not believe in that sea up there. It was extremely calm, but not only that, just the amount of ships going back and forth. Because when you're out in the Atlantic or the Gulf or somewhere out there, you may see one ship way off in the distance. No, this was more like a highway. I mean, there was like a line of large container ships, taking stuff back and forth. It was crazy. There was always things to look at off the way.
Yeah, that's crazy because you like you said, you never see like when you do a Caribbean cruise, you'll see them when you leave port and that's it. And then you might see them again in the next port, but that's it. You never see them when you're out at sea.
Yeah, they're there, but when you're out there. But this was, I mean, they were out the window. It was you always had something to look at, kind of like a little bit more like Alaska. But the other thing that I feel like that was very different, and I think you had a listener, I think it was John, talk about his Met cruise a little bit a couple weeks ago. I'm catching up a little bit because I was out of the country, but it became much more so about the destinations, I would say, than your typical cruise, because kind of like when you're in the Caribbean, so much of it is, or the Bahamian cruise, so much of it is about being on the ship. In this case, for me, it was more about the cities and the destinations, with the ship being the easy way to get from one port to the other with the kids and that kind of a thing. And the ship became a little bit secondary, but still very enjoyable, but still a bit more secondary than your typical tropical cruise.
Do they do as much program? Because it sounds like you've done a bunch of cruises. Do they do as much programming on the ship as they do, like say, in a Caribbean cruise, or do they kind of expect that most people are going to be port intensive and be off the ship and kind of tired in the evenings, or do you get as many of the kind of game shows and bingos and karaoke's and match your mates and stuff like that?
Yeah, on the sea days, they definitely had the typical amount of programming. I will tell you that they debuted it was the Color Pop show.
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
Before the cruise, there was quite a bit of some people were not too thrilled about finding out that we weren't going to get the special fireworks, which obviously they weren't doing that because they couldn't. And then they thought we were going to be people assumed that we were going to be in the Frozen show. And then they announced that we weren't doing that. And then it came out later that they were debuting this Color Pop show, which was entertaining. It was very good. There were so many characters up on stage, and it was enjoyable for everybody. Very high energy. And so, there was definitely programming. We had quite a few movies, with Indiana Jones and Haunted Mansion and all those things. And the entertainment for the nighttime was the typical entertainment, the typical shows, as well as I think there was a juggler, a ventriloquist, and a magician to fill in the rotation. But yeah, there was quite a bit, especially on the sea days.
So it sounds like you've been on quite a few cruises. Would you say this was if you had to rank them, was this your top cruise you've been on?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the most unique one of the ones that I've been on. The other one that's hard for me to say it tops is the very first cruise that we went on, which was an Alaskan cruise, and so that I think that is in itself a very unique itinerary that I think that people should try at least once, just because it is such a cool thing, a cool way to see a part of the country that most people don't have an easy way to see.
I got to try that. My wife just says she just can't see herself going somewhere cold in the summer. But
oh my God, that sounds perfect to me.
I know I don't know. Like I got to go where there's palm trees, but I know we got to.
No, you go to the palm trees when it's like January or February, and then you go to the colder places in summer.
That's true. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead. We didn't hear you.
My father's the same way, where he can't imagine going anywhere cold. And after doing this one, they're dead set on going for an Alaskan cruise.
I think I could. Yeah, because I mean, I'm a kind of a geography nerd, and the older I get, the more I want to see the world and see places I haven't seen. Like I've never seen a glacier, so I'd like to see that at some point. It's like I hate to say it, but like things are going away.
You definitely should.
Yeah,
you definitely should. The other two things that we saw in Norway, I don't think I mentioned this. When we docked in Oslo, we docked literally across the street from Akershus Fortress. Obviously from Epcot, the actual Akershus. It was kind of funny because you were right there, just across the street, up the hill. There's the fortress, and then we ended up. It was rainy that day, but we took a ferry across the way and went to a outdoor folk museum, and we saw the Golstave Church, which is again what's represented in Norway and Epcot, as well as had some school bread over there too. So
that's awesome.
So I know I keep bringing this back to the Love Boat, but I'm telling you because I saw this episode the other day. I've seen this episode many times on Pluto TV. That is the episode. They go to all these same places because Captain Steuben gets on and he talks about don't miss seeing the Akershus Castle. He says it just like that. And he mentions not to miss when you go on shore, the Stave Church, because they're in that port. So you guys must have port and they went to Tivoli Gardens because that's where like the kid that was trying to scam Vicky was like hanging out. He pretended like he worked there or something. But it's a great episode. But the thing is, like, I mean, it sounds like it's exactly where you guys were. Like you went to all these same places.
Yeah, we were there. Actually, I ran into Len Testa on the ship and I had a little conversation about.
Oh, that's awesome.
To make sure we had.
He's been replaced by Josh Gad, is what I've been told. So.
That's I got one thing I gotta say, to both of you. You always talk about the absolute worst thing about going on a Disney cruise, right? What is it?
Getting off the ship.
When you're back, you're beginning.
It's when you have to get off the ship, right? And the reentry program. My challenge to you, and this is the way I've done it when I'm down in Florida, I'm getting off the ship. I always go after I get off to Vero Beach for at least one night, if not 2 nights. I know you guys love Old Key West. Old Key West walks so that Vero Beach could run. It is like Vero is Old Key West to the next level. And I'm not a beach guy. I cannot sit on a beach, but for getting back into this world, Vero is the way to do it. You gotta try it out.
Man, that's a great words coming from you, Michael. Yeah, so I'll have to keep a note of that. And Vero's been on my list too as a Disney Vacation Club member, so I just gotta make that happen. But
it's hard to recommendation. It's hard to get. I've tried to book it for guests. It's booked a lot. Yeah,
it is. It is hard to get, and definitely DVC is the way to do it. But you got enough time to think about it, plan it out, make sure you find some time to sneak out there for a couple days after you get off your next cruise. I'll be seeing you guys in January because I'm doing the coast to coast, doing the full and then the half out of Disneyland. So
I'll see
you guys then.
Hey, maybe we'll be on the same flight heading out west.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably.
All right, you guys take care.
All right. Are you going to be solo that time, Michael? Are we just going to see you?
My family's coming down for World, but I will be going solo out to land.
Cool. All right. Look forward to seeing you and the fam and seeing you out West Coast, man. It's going to be an awesome time.
That's right. All right, buddy. Have a good week. Thanks for the great call. We appreciate all that feedback. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Have a good week. All right. Bye-bye. All right. 474139395. How cool would that be to take that cruise?
I want to do that cruise. That's what I'm saying. Like, That's why I'm always kind of joking. I mean, I jokingly say, I know why you choose some of the itineraries you do for the podcast cruise, but like that's why I always say, like, man, we got to switch it up because I would love to go on some of these sailings, man.
I know, because most of our listeners, like in the feedback, they want to go to Walt Disney World too.
Yeah, I
so
know.
That's why we always say a lot of Canaveral.
But man, I would love to go to some of these other destinations.
No, me too. So we have our next call. Hey, who's joining us?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Sarah from St. Charles.
Oh my gosh, we're getting
Yeah,
calls from way far away. St. Charles,
Yeah.
Missouri. What's going on, Sarah?
Not much. I just finished up my Disney college program, so I thought I'd come in on here and talk about Disney for you because I kind of missed that.
Oh, nice. So you're in St. Charles County, or like I just got to ask you before we talk about your college program. You ever been to El Azteca Mexican restaurant down there in O'Fallon?
No, I don't think we have.
Oh man, you're missing out down there, kind of by the Cracker Barrel. I'm just saying, that's my place. Anyway,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
tell us about your college program. Now that you're kind of missing it, I hear you. Those things are hard when you walk away. You make so many great memories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I worked at Epcot, so I got to see a lot of, how it changed through these past like 7 months.
So what was
Lots
your
of
role?
changes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what kind of role at Epcot did you do?
I was a custodian, so I was all over the park. I got to really get to know the ins and outs of backstage and, the little hidden secrets all over Epcot.
Nice.
I'm going to sound like a teacher here because that's what I used to do. What was something that you didn't expect on your college program that you learned? Something you went in, you thought, because you're probably a Disney fan. Obviously, I guess most people going to.
And I hope she says learned how to draw Mickey Mouse like on like
with,
the promenade.
with a broom. I know.
Yeah.
I could draw a really mean Mickey or Goofy. No, but I mean, was there something that you just totally shocked you that you got to do, or some unexpected, experience you got to have during your program?
Just some of the guest interactions I had were really cool. It was just like such an awing experience being able to go behind the doors that said cast members only. It put things so real. And I did learn how to do water art. I did learn how to do Mickey, and it's not as easy as it looks.
I don't think it looks easy at all.
No, I could never do
Mad
that.
props to you, Sarah. That's awesome. I like how water art must be the right term. I didn't know what to call it, but I like water art. No, that's good.
Yeah, we call it water art. And I had a friend that was trying to get his Figment certified, and Duffy, and all those like really favorite characters.
That's so cool. You gotta get certified. I never thought about that. I love that. See, that's why I like Disney. So many layers.
Sorry, I was gonna say you have to get like Mickey certified, and then you can get Minnie and Donald and Goofy, and you have to go through each stage getting each one certified.
So you can't just go out there and start freestyling. You got to actually, before you can actually go out there and draw, you have to have that like certification.
Yes, you have to have a class, and then you have to practice backstage and have one of our water art teachers look at it, and then you do it on stage, and then they'll give you your certification.
That's great.
I love this stuff. I had no idea that there was such a process.
So Sarah, when you weren't working, were you going into the theme parks at all, or like visiting the resorts? Like what was your life when you weren't working?
Oh, it was going to the parks. I've worked at all of the parks, including Typhoon Lagoon, Disney Springs, and the ESPN location, just because I wanted to say that I've worked at all of those locations.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I got to see like backstage, and yeah, my days off, I would either be, going to the parks, just like spending my entire day there, or, just doing basic grocery store needs.
Right.
Yeah, and I love going to Cast Connections. Gotta love the cast member discounts you get there.
I got to go in there a couple times with some friends that were cast members. That place is awesome. I got a name tag one time that said Mike because somebody lost theirs, and I was like, well, it was back when it was like over 20 years ago, but they had at the time, instead of your city, it had your favorite character, and this this Mike's favorite character was Aladdin, so my name tag says Aladdin. So not really my favorite character, but I went with it for like 50 cents. That place was cool though.
So Sarah, that was actually pretty cool that you got to work at all the locations and like including ESPN, Wide World Sports, and all that. So did you have like I mean, it sounds like Epcot was your home base. Like, was that your favorite place to work, or was there another place that you really liked working at?
I really did enjoy my time at Epcot just because, eventually things got familiar enough with me. I didn't have to go to these other parks and be scared about what area of backstage I'm allowed in and what I'm not. But I had some really cool experiences at all the parks. For my one Hollywood studio shift, I got to work the Fantasmic one, so I got to see them run it like during the day with all the backstage people that make it happen, like the lighting, the water, all of it.
That's cool.
And Animal Kingdom, I got to see Festival of the Lion King backstage. It was all just really cool.
Man, that's awesome, especially for a Disney fan that appreciates all that. Because, you know, as a casual person who just goes down, you know, from the guest side of things, I would love to see, because Fantasmic is such a production, you know, but I only see it during the show. And you're right, I never even thought about the afternoon. They got to adjust the lighting, the sound, do some checks, probably a lot of safety stuff, get it set for the show. I didn't think about it, so you just said that.
The only backstage stuff we see, Mike, is when we run the marathon. We were just hating life at that moment.
Yeah, I don't ever hate that. Yeah, that's except you get chocolate.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
so, go ahead.
It's amazing with Fantasmic that it almost never goes completely right. Like when I worked that shift, one of the times they started the show, and the very first time that you see Mickey, he just didn't show up. We don't know if the thing didn't lift him up or if Mickey just wasn't there. But we were all like, oh, and then they immediately like turned off all the lights, and we're like, we're gonna postpone this.
Yeah. It happens. we all have our days. So let me ask you this, because I think this would be a great question too for folks, because there's always lots of folks that are in our audience that are considering doing the Disney College program. And you obviously got accepted and got to have this awesome experience down at Walt Disney World. What piece of advice would you give somebody who is thinking about applying for the program? Because this is a competitive position. You know, some people get in, some people don't. You were successful. So what would you say to folks that are thinking about looking at doing the college program?
I would say absolutely do it. When I came back home and family asked me, you know, like, how would you summarize it? I'm just like, amazing. Especially custodial. It's such a wonderful job. Like I said, you got to explore a different part of the parks, and Disney's just looking for, you know, you overall being, you know, a very helpful and like caring person. You know, if you see a guest struggling to find directions or something, you are a person that is willing to go out and help them and ask, you know, what do you need? Just somebody who can give them a little extra magic to their day.
That's awesome.
That's a great attitude, because as guests, we appreciate the college program, you know, folks that are down there, because without them, it would be really hard to make the magic that we get to experience from the guest side of things. Because, you know, that's an essential part of the whole experience. You guys are down there making that magic, and it's awesome. I wish I'd have got to experience it. I had no idea that it was a thing when I was in college, but I mean, that was so long ago. You know, we hardly had computers, so yeah, I'm old.
I would definitely, for anyone that's interested, I would definitely like go on YouTube, look up, you know, what a Disney web-based interview is like, because that is also very helpful. It really, it goes into more of what Disney is really looking for.
So let me ask you this. So you did custodial, but if you could go, say Disney calls you tomorrow and they're like, look, we'd love to have you down for the college program. We want to bring you back full time, but you get to pick your role, any role you want at Walt Disney World. Because I always say, like, I'd love to drive a monorail. Scott wants to drive a boat, I think. You know,
I do want to do it, or I want to do like concierge, so I can like be indoors.
Okay, dude, he's like, dude, I've seen the heat index.
I want to be like, I've changed my tune to being concierge desk at the Polynesian or something.
Yeah, he doesn't want 115 heat index. He's not playing. He's like, forget the boat.
Or bartender at Trader Sam's. Actually, that'd be my role.
No, he's totally changing his.
Anyway, yeah.
So what would your role be if you could pick one at Walt Disney? Like, what's your dream role down there?
Honestly, before the Disney College program, I thought attractions, like I thought I would love doing that. Especially when you hear about all like the crazy breakdowns and all of that. I thought that would be kind of funny. But the more I thought about it and the more I was there, I'm like, you are listening to the same audio on repeat, like day after day. I thought that would be a little nerve wracking. So I kind of, honestly, if I went back, I think I would go for custodial again because, like I said, it's a new experience every day. Nothing is going to be the same. And yeah, you get to go all over the park, explore the different countries, see Sergio backstage from Italy,
Okay, maybe you can't tell us
something.
this. Can he talk, or does he talk to you backstage with a whistle? Like when he sees you backstage, he's like boop 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 boop. No, just kidding. You don't have to answer that, but that'd be funny if you did. I love that guy.
No, I like your answer, Sarah, because I've always like heard this myth that like custodial might be like the best role, right? Because like it's different, like you were just saying, you get lots of guest interaction. I think about like the Nemo ride or like Haunted Mansion where you're just walking on the conveyor belt like all day, constantly hearing the same spiel. Like that gets old, right? Yeah. So like, so I see what you're saying, and like that, it does sound like a good gig. I really think it could be fun. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in that role, you get a lot of guest gifts, which we really love that. I've gotten maybe my 7 months, I don't know, I've got like 10, 15 guest gifts. Some of them, they don't even hand me directly. They just, they'll leave something for us, and it really makes our day, just something that, tells us that we're not invisible.
That's awesome. And that is so good to hear because cast members are essential for the whole experience at Walt Disney World. So,
for sure.
Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to call in, and maybe we'll bump shoulders here in St. Charles. I'm out by J Bloom. I live right out by there. So I'm always hanging out in this Mid Rivers Mall corridor. So I appreciate it.
Gotcha.
All right. Thanks for the call, Sarah. Thanks for doing it, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank
All right.
you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And I like hearing that inside information on the college program again. I love that.
And William was back in the Stone Age out in Oregon. He's still trying to figure out where his Beavs are going to play football next year. But I guess the Pac-4. But he's saying that he was in custodial in the Magic Kingdom back in 1994. So he's of my generation. Yeah. And he said that, he said though he considers custodial. There were signposts with arms because they could go around and talk to so many guests and kind of be on the front lines and answer questions and be, probably proactive, solving problems for guests. And I mean, how cool is that? Because I think you get to kind of be like a floater, right? You're kind of out there as almost like an ambassador.
And you're not like in the same like attraction all day, right? Like she was saying, like Sarah was saying, she was in some of the World Showcase countries, and she'd be backstage doing this, or in Future World, and she got to go to all those to be able to like work at every theme park. I think that was kind of a cool thing. We talk about like doing 4 parks in one day, but she's worked in all like theme parks and the Disney Spring. Like I liked how that was like a personal challenge for her, and that was awesome.
That is. I mean, if I always try to tell my students, and I try to tell this to my kids too. Paige is old and pretty much on her own now, but Mallory, like you have to take advantage of your situations you're in. Like you got to be proactive, and you got to, like I've told her with her cheerleading, like enjoy it because like high school goes so fast. You're already a sophomore, so like when you're cheering the varsity games this year, look up in the crowd and like take mental pictures because this is what you're going to remember for the rest of your life. Like it's going to be gone in an instant, so if you're going to be in the Disney College program, like volunteer for extra shifts because like she was there for 7 months, she said, but 7 months will go by in the blink of an eye if you're enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you love doing something, because when I taught at Space Camp for those 2 summers, it was 2 months long each time. You went down at the end of like beginning of June and you were there till the end of August. I loved it. And I loved every day, but man, it felt like the summer was just gone in a blink. And I worked doubles every day because I just wanted to work I loved what I did. And so I did doubles every day because I just wanted to do it. And it was gone. So yeah, that's one thing. Yep. You got to take it in. So, and William says he also got to be in the 1994 Christmas parade with Regis and Kathy Lee. I mean, oh no, Joan London. It wasn't Regis and Kathy Lee back then, I guess. So how cool is that?
Very cool.
I don't know. I mean, did he get to host with them or? But I don't know. So it's pretty cool. Well, hey, that's going to do it for the show. So that was a lot of fun. Scott, great calls again. We got to cruise. We got to get a little cast member insider information. Got to talk some Run Disney and a little betting with
a
Disney.
little ESPN sports. Yeah.
Kind of hit the all the topics tonight. That was pretty fun. So
I mean, it's summertime. It's kind of slow news. You know, people are probably out barbecue. Because speaking of summer going by fast, I feel like this summer is going by fast. You know, you just said Pam's back at work, you know, at school. Like I hope people are out there with the grills fired up, having some friends and family over, soaking in those last few weeks that we have.
Yeah, it's back to school here. Pam's been back for a week. Mallory goes back next week. We have our football jamboree Friday, which means Friday Night Lights starts this week.
Crazy.
Finally. And then Mizzou starts on the 31st. So we're getting there. All right, so we're going to hop out of here. We'll have the shows this week. Monday, we'll have a listener. That'll be a Trip Report show here in just about an hour. It'll hit your feed. Wednesday, listener questions. Friday, another fun topical show. So hope you enjoy those. But until then, don't forget our show is brought to you by The Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for all your Disney trip planning needs. We're standing by right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon for all those back to school goodies, Ticonderoga pencils. I don't know what else you get. Notebooks. I get kids. I haven't been teaching for 6 years. I just know, like, we used Chromebooks at this point for like everything. So if you're gonna buy a Chromebook, that'd be even better because that'd help us out even more. So Chromebooks, notebooks, calculators. I don't know what's on. What is Emily?
They don't even like get like a school. Like I remember, like,
did not even get a list
years ago. They would get like a list, but now it's just like it's just whatever the kid. I mean, the student kind of knows now, like, what to get.
Yeah,
Emily, we're to the point where Emily doesn't even get a new backpack, which was like a score for us, man. Like,
yeah, those things are $1 million.
Because like 2 years ago, we got like a really nice backpack for her, and we said, like, no, this is it. This is your high school backpack. And, like,
you don't need a new one every year. That's a racket. Because we used to do that in elementary school, and I'm like, the last one's fine, but it was always had to be like. But I mean, when they're like, elementary school.
Oh yeah, I gotta get the Doc McStuffins backpack now because that's the hot thing.
It was like 1 year it was Frozen, the next year it was Doc McStuffins.
I know.
Every year,
dude, we had so many different themed backpacks.
Disney, dude, it was Disney getting us because it was the new movie. Yeah,
and now my almost 16-year-old just has a generic black backpack. It's perfect.
I know, but Mallory's got 7 backpacks because she got to have the cheer bag. She's got to have the regular bag. And I trip over them because she never puts them away when soon as she gets home from school, boom, just right there in the kitchen. I'm like, dude, come on, killing me. Anyway, parents get me. So where were we? Oh, also Patreon. If you can support us on Patreon, that would be awesome. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. You get the bonus show called Mike in the Midwest that supports everything we do throughout the week and throughout the year. It's patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give Scott a follow on the social media at EpScott. I'm at BeOurGuestMike, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Well, not Twitch. We're both on Twitch, but I don't think you can follow us over there. And Threads is what I was thinking of. So give us a follow on those places. We love talking with you throughout the week, especially over on Twitter and X and Instagram and all that stuff. So get the conversation going over there at EpScott at BeOurGuestMike. Join us next Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We'll get back together, fire up those phone lines, and have another good time together. All right, until we get back together again, for Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
I mean, you can follow Twitch. That's how I get the notification, but I think I'm probably the only person that follows.
Yeah, I'm on there too, but I mean, we don't get a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I just put over there just because we can.
No, yeah, Twitch. I mean, you know me, I like Twitch.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about like the confusion with the work stuff, but it looks like all is good. So yeah.
I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad you don't have to do that extra work too.
Yeah, good calls today. It was awesome.
All right, so I'll let you. So are you free tomorrow night?
Yeah, because Pam hinted that she's traveling. She hasn't really said what she's doing. I mean, that's what she kept saying. Like, hey, I'm traveling soon. So I'm like,
okay, cool. Then that'd be good.
I just assume that she's probably traveling. So I will plan on being here tomorrow if needed.
Okay. I'll put it out in the morning. So I'll just throw it to everybody and then we'll just nail it all down. Because that'd be good. Well, okay. Yeah. I'd like to go earlier, but we can't if Ricky can.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. Okay. I'll just put out in the morning. Okay. I'll talk to you. Okay.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Bye, guys.